Joining me now, American Frontier Strategy CEO Mehek Cooke, and along with Fox News anchor Julie Banderas. Julie,
yeah.
I mean, there's so much pushback on DOGE, which to me is nuts to begin with. But who could argue with maybe not paying dead people Social Security money?
I mean, over 120 years old. Yeah, I mean, good for you if you are going to make it over 120 years old. But this is incredible that this wasn't caught until now. No one has ever any right to be complaining about DOGE. So you're telling me that you want your American taxpayers to go towards Social Security to pay dead people's Social Security. I mean, people are worried about Social Security running out, right? That's the liberals' thing. You know, oh, the Republicans are going to run out of money. We're not going to have Social Security. I'm never going to be able to retire. Well, then why aren't you just as angry at the fact that the Democrats have been paying Social Security out to dead people? There is such hypocrisy in Washington, and I'm so grateful for DOGE, and I can't wait for more to come out. There are children that have personal business loans under DOGE. Okay, I think it was a 5-year-old that was discovered to have a personal business loan. Good for him. I mean, his parents must have been doing something right.
Something right. I mean, at 5 years old, I don't know. I was doing some really dumb things. almost told a few of them, but I better not.
Well, I think that's the level of fraud today, though. That's where we are. Obama was the one that actually pushed DOGE. So let's not remember, this isn't Republican versus Democrats. This is helping all Americans today. And I just want to go back. We knew that Social Security recipients were getting more money than they should. In 2023, Charles, there was an audit done that specifically said 18.9 million listed over the age of 100. This was under the Biden administration. They didn't do anything. And if we back up to 2015, you see the same results. They specifically audited 6.5 million with Social Security numbers, but no deaths.
Right.
They were over 112 years old.
Right.
So we've had a system of archaic records, and we're not rectifying that with Treasury. How much money is really going out? Let's get into also the fraud, waste, and abuse that's happening. Illegals are stealing Social Security information, and we have a discrepancy there as well. There's a lot of issues with this.
Let me ask you about the other thing I was talking about, the immortality. They're pumping trillions of dollars into this thing. If it was an option, Julie, would you consider it?
To be immortal?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If there's a really good plastic surgeon in about 50 years, talk to me then. I mean, he'd have to be really good. I'm just saying. But yes, I would. If it meant, listen, if it's meant spending more time with my children and eventual grandchildren, yes, 100%. I'd even forego the plastic surgeon.
Look, I'm with Julie. I have 2 little kids today, and if I can spend more time with them, as long as I'm healthy, Charles.
That's a key.
As long as I can move and I'm healthy, able-bodied, I would be 100%
So healthy first, cute second, and then, you know, okay. And
I never put it in that order. If you ask me, it'd be cute and okay.
Okay. So there's another part of the Trump agenda that I think is really fascinating that we're not getting as much pushback from anymore because it's been so successful, the border. But did you know this? The material interceptions of eggs at the border is now higher than fentanyl. Did you even know they were smuggling eggs? I mean, I know the price. Did you really?
I certainly did. Yes, and this is so scary. First of all, it is a bit of good news. So let's look at the glass half full here. Okay, at least it's not fentanyl, because under the Biden administration, the fentanyl smuggling rates were through the roof. The problem is the reason why these eggs are being smuggled is because the price of eggs have been so high, which was caused by the Biden economy. I love how people love to blame President Trump
like 8 million
for
eggs?
expensive eggs. It's like, dude, he's been in the White House for 2 months. It's not his fault that you're paying over $10 for a dozen eggs. The prices of eggs are actually dropping, so hopefully these smuggling eggs will slow down. But listen, I'm not going to complain. I'd rather eggs being smuggled over the border than illegals and fentanyl.
Sure, I mean, but if you can smuggle an egg, you can smuggle fentanyl. That's why, you know, the crackdown
is important. That is a very good point, Charles.
And the crackdown's important, too, because we're finally having Border Patrol that are seizing things like fentanyl or eggs, to Brooks' point. Before that, we had babysitters that were sitting at the border, letting illegals come into our country and then run rampant. So if eggs are the least of our worries, at least we know that President Trump is serious. We cannot allow eggs into our country because of the avian flu. But I will say, in New York, they have dropped. Egg prices are down to $4.08.
No, they're down. They're down a lot.
That's 50%.
So I want to switch to the consumer, and some are saying this news on Klarna. Are you guys familiar with Klarna? Buy now, pay later. All right, in the Bronx, it'd be buy now, get it if you can later. But anyway, they cut a deal with DoorDash. And people are losing their minds like, all right, so you mean you're going to actually have to like order something at DoorDash and make payments on it? Well,
You know what? I have to be honest. If you talk to the common middle American here in New York City who can barely afford to buy a dozen eggs, okay?
Right.
Because even though the prices have gone down, there are middle to low income communities in New York City. When they go to the grocery stores, they're not filling up their baskets because they can't afford it.
Right.
So maybe they will, unfortunately, have to pay in installments, but at least that way people can afford to feed their children and put food on the table until this economic mess is recovered under President Biden. President Trump.
Klarna is not our friend, though. They're extending debt. They're actually teaching people you're not budgeting, you're going to overeat. I guarantee you, if you use your own oils at home and you cook those 2 eggs versus buying something, remember seed oils, guys, that's coming real fast. RFK's in office now. HHS is going to start cracking down literally on what's happening in our food industry. But we are paying more for things like DoorDash, and I really think it's creating unhealthy budgetary habits that Americans shouldn't be overextending themselves.
There's no doubt about that. All right, let's switch to the tone of America. I'm always picking on millennials. Today we're going to go after the older folks. So a couple things. I want to get your thoughts on it. There's a big thing about adult swaddling. Have you seen this adult swaddles things? Apparently it really helps your central nervous system. There it is right there on the screen.
Ridiculous.
Also, if you're like an executive and you don't have one of those in your office, they are setting up what they call empathy gyms. I'm just wondering, Julie, have we even gotten 2 weeks?
Such babies. I can't even take it. I mean, swaddle for an adult. Now, I get weighted blankets. I've never purchased one, but I do feel more comfortable when my heavy down comforter hits my body, so I kind of understand, but don't swaddle me. Like, what are you going to stick a passy in my mouth and nurse me after that? Like, that's ridiculous. But that is very indicative of adults these days. Like, they're not really adults. They're like babies because they're used to being babied by parents, which we're going to talk about later about more and more adults that are actually being
talk about it now. You okay with that? When do you cut off helping your kids? Is there an age?
Yeah, like after college.
Okay.
I mean, I get it. You get a year. I say you get a year to get your act together after college, because getting a job out of college is hard. And I did move back into my house for a little bit. After
1 year, Mehek.
I did the same thing, but then you have to get a job. If you're living in your parents' basement, you got to learn how to budget. You got to pay your bills,
pay the electric bill,
and parents have to teach budgeting. I think we have this beta personality.
My kids are older than yours. I said the same thing you did, but every now and then I still slip them some cash.
They're
not living there, but they know when to come by.
Well, that's a good parent.
Thank you both very much.